Welcome to day 2 of our memory challenge. And hello, Robin.
Hello, Evelina. And hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm going to be put through my paces today. But over to you.
So, as Robin mentioned on our podcast, that remembering names was one of his biggest challenges. So I thought it would be a good idea to have him here and put him to the test and see how those techniques work and have a little bit more interactive conversation. So, Robin, tell me, how good are you at remembering names?
Rubbish. They all go in, and then as another one comes in, they all fire out the other side of my head and end up in a big heap on the floor over there somewhere. In meetings, I have to write everyone's names down and their position around the table so that I can refer back to it. And I think it's really obvious. That's what I'm doing.
So why do you think you cannot remember names? Because when you think of it, overall, I mean, we have a list of simple common names, Toms and Johns and, all the little short words that we've heard many, many times and we don't remember.
I don't know, quite often, again, it's in meetings or social situations, you get a lot of names in fairly quick succession. Hello, this is Tom, this is John, this is Bob, this is Billy. And then the conversation goes and like, wait a minute, who were you all? I don't have time to digest and remember before my brain's being carried along.
So for you, it's mainly when you have like a list of a lot of names. What about when you meet somebody in person? Let's say you just, I don't know, you are in some sort of group meeting or just overall meeting many people in person. How does that differ?
Yeah, it's still not going to be great. If it's just one person's name to remember and I already know the others, that's a lot easier. But it's not always going to go in there. I remember meeting a partner's mum at one point. And maybe it was because my state was elevated, I was nervous, I was anxious, I don't know, but I couldn't remember their mum's name. And you can't go, oh, by the way, what's your mum called again?
Okay, so hopefully by the end of today, this is not going to happen again to you. Yeah. So what is interesting is, like you mentioned, being nervous or all the conscious things going in your mind of processing things, and as well as I mentioned in our first session, as well as being in a new environment, somewhere where unfamiliar environment straight away switches on that vigilance and we're not really relaxed. Our minds are not that open for that. So that's the first thing, is to be in that state of calm and peaceful focus. But then what exactly is happening in our brains when we actually meet somebody for the first time? So first of all, like we already talked about, your conscious and subconscious brain. So your conscious brain is, of course, processing quite a lot, trying to make sense out of what's important, what doesn't, how to make first impression, what is the right thing to say, and all these little things that takes away attention from the name. And of course, if you're not paying attention to the name, then most likely that you will forget. Now it's interesting what actually happens in your subconscious mind. So when you meet somebody for the first time, there's a lot of processes that are happening in your subconscious. So first of all is assessing the person. So can you trust that person? Is it a friend? Can it be enemy? Maybe potential mate. What is interesting as well is that our DNA have some smell that we consciously cannot detect. But when we meet somebody for the first time, there is actually a subconscious process happening in our brain, processing and comparing your genetic systems. So again, there's quite a lot of processes that are taking away from paying attention to that little short name. So the first easiest thing to do is, of course, to pay conscious attention. But of course, easier said than done. So we'll break it down and we see exactly how we can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what is your usual process when you, let's say, if you were to meet me here first time? How you know, let's say you've never seen me before, yeah, and I'll approach you here and.
Am I approaching you? Are you approaching me?
Yeah, so let's say we're meeting now first time. Yeah.
Okay.
How would that work?
Probably going, oh God, it's someone new. No, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. You've got this. Come on, let's just go and make a good impression. Tell them what you need to tell them. Say
Okay.
hello.
So what is it exactly that you're gonna say? So what is it exactly that you'd say and do if imagine we just meet now, first time. This is our first meeting.
Hello, hi, I'm Robin.
I'm Evelina.
Nice to meet you, Evelina. How are you doing today?
All right. So you can see already just by, you know, there is straight away that bit of tension just by saying, oh, you know, we're meeting first time. And I'm sure anybody who's watching it can see it just by putting ourselves into that position, saying we're doing it first time, just to meet somebody. It's already that tension. So what this demonstrates that we actually don't have a system of approaching it. If you have your way of greeting people every time, then it becomes natural. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is pay attention to what you're doing until it becomes subconscious, natural process that you will always follow. Yeah. So you don't have to think before you meet somebody, oh, what do I do and what do I say? Because there's 1 minute of your first impression can make a big difference onto the rest of your conversation, right? If you get it right, that is. So
no pressure.
Yeah. Okay, so give me some reasons why you would want to remember anybody's name anyway.
One, so that you can address them. So if I could say, "Hey," maybe in a crowd, go, "Hey, Evelina," and get your attention. So it's polite and friendly, and everyone loves it if you remember their name.
Yeah,
don't they?
Exactly.
People really love it.
That was my next question. Like, how does it make you feel when people remember your name?
1, surprised, and 2, happy that they've bothered to remember my name and who I am.
Yeah, and to be honest, you feel quite special, right? Well, for me, at least, you know, if somebody remembers my name, or, well, never mind my surname, you know, if somebody remembers my name, I feel, it's a nice feeling. Yeah, it's kind of a little privilege that you think, oh, they paid attention to you. Yeah. So again, what it gives you then in turn, that you have more respect to that person who actually bothered to remember your name. So if you want to have respect from people, then again, it's just as simple as that. That is good, good starting point. Start by remembering their names. Okay, so how can we break down that conversation into a very simple way that we could use them, that like a little strategy to use for every time when you meet somebody?
Oh, a meeting people for the first time strategy that you can employ time and time again, so that you don't worry about it, so that it
exactly so we can do that. So first of all, when you ask somebody's name and they tell their name, ask them to repeat it, and or if it's simple name, you repeat it yourself a couple of times in a way as if I was to say, hi, what's your name?
It's Robin. Hi.
Hi, Robin. Nice to meet you, Robin. So I'm already saying it to myself a few times. So you already have that auditory input for yourself as well. Yeah. Now, if it's a name that you haven't heard before, you could ask how to spell that. Or when you repeat it, you could ask if you're pronouncing it correctly. Yeah. especially if there are people from different countries with some interesting names, and again, they will feel kind of privileged that you pay attention to say, well, am I pronouncing it correctly? Can you say that again for me? Well, of course, if somebody's name is Tom and you say, sorry, how do you spell that? Well, that might not be the right first impression that you're making. But, it's as much as possible, if it's interesting, new name that you haven't heard before, coming up with a little strategies of how you can ask for that politely in a way that you show that you care, and in a way that you repeat it, that you're doing it correctly, that you want to pronounce the name as it's supposed to be, rather than just normal English British way of saying things. And just making everything in standard English, regardless of how it's spelled and pronounced in other countries.
Yeah, so, I do have quite a lot of Polish friends.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting names that, not pronounced how they look.
Yeah, and it sometimes could be quite challenging from the way we see and the way we write and the way we spell to kind of comprehend how is that name supposed to look and sound, really. And if we are saying it, it might sound to us as we're doing it right, but probably to that person it doesn't. So it's important to repeat that and say, am I getting this right? And just repeat it a few times. So again, just something simple like that will actually force you to pay attention to the name, and sometimes it's enough. Sometimes it's enough to remember that name, just by paying that conscious attention, and also having that intention before approaching the person that you will remember that name and you will pay attention, and all these good reasons why you should remember that person's name. Yeah. So, I would like to have a bit of respect from that person, or, maybe that could be my, potential client, potential next date, next colleague, whatever it's supposed to be, thinking, why is this person could be important for me? So then subconsciously, your brain is already tuned into that open mind and giving you that good reason of why you should remember. So it will help you subconsciously as well. Yeah. So if it's not enough just to pay your attention consciously, or if it's some very simple name, then again, what we can do is to visualize that name, either written down, because as you mentioned, what you're doing sometimes writing names down, but you don't actually have to write physically down. You can write it down here. So the trick is that where exactly you place that memory. So by using your visual cortex, which is at the back and here, by accessing your eye movements, by that you can again put that memory into the right place. So by looking up and left, again, depends from the person and where they are. But usually if you're looking up and left and you imagine there, let's say a little poster or sticky note, or big whiteboard, whatever that is, clouds in the shape of a name, just make up stuff, whatever it would make it easier for you to write down that name. And again, that can just take a fraction of a second just to see it there. So once they're repeating the name, or once they are telling you how it's spelled or how it's pronounced, just have that little visual cue for yourself that you can then access for yourself. So that's the second thing. So first, by paying attention and having a system of how you do that. Second thing, by trying to remember that visually. Also, you can try to remember it kinesthetically. Yeah. So now, what do I mean by that? You can think. Well, you can actually think of how that name tastes, for example, or you can associate that with specific smell, or you can associate that, let's say, with a touch. So if you are pressing the hand of the person, yeah, so if I was to press your hand, I could think, ooh, how does it feel to press Robin's hand? Ooh, so that's how Robin's hand feels like. Yeah. So of course, this is not conscious process that you're gonna go through, but it really actually takes milliseconds to just pay that attention. Once you get used to it, it just becomes very natural. But again, like everything, you need to practice. So I can give you like all of these memory techniques. For you to get them to work, you need to work them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So any system needs to be worked for it to work for you.
Mm.
Yeah. So simple little things like that. Now, if that's still not enough, what else we can do? Then we can integrate the name into things that we already know, because again, our brain works with things that it knows, that is familiar, and how it can integrate. So you can think, if you already know the person with this name, you can then think of those two people, of the person that you know very well with that name and the person that you have just met, doing something together.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, playing tennis, anything. Just, and again, make it interesting. Waltz dancing or something like that, and make it interesting. Like if they're playing tennis, why don't they play it, I don't know, with an egg instead of a ball, or just something ridiculous and hilarious, because your brain will remember it easier if it's a bit of a hilarious story behind it, rather than just the traditional one.
So can you go crazy imaginary, like
Yes.
like playing Mario Kart in real life, throwing shells at each other? Yeah.
Absolutely. You can also imagine that person, if that person reminds you of something that you already know, and it doesn't have to be another person. It can be a cartoon character, it can be, I don't know, some Game of Thrones character, whatever it is that you can think of. You think, oh, that person reminds me of that. Associate with it by creating story in your head. And again, just allowing your imagination to go wild with it. If you need to remember that name and spelling for a long time, what you can do again as well is to create a little mnemonic story. So for example, your name is Robin, and I think, oh my God, I'm just going to walk off of this room and I will forget. What can I do not to forget it? Yeah. So as soon as I stop speaking to you, when I have some moment for myself to process things, I could think, okay, so Robin, Robin, and I can think of a different little story starting with those letters. Yeah. So for example, for your mnemonic for your name, I could come up with something like riot outside brings instant noodles. Yeah. And you create that strong visual for yourself, seeing a big riot outside and thinking that process, brings for you somehow instant noodles, and there you have. Yeah. And now it's easy to forget the name. Once you create that kind of mental image in your head, it will be impossible to forget. Yeah. So that is the easiest way to, well, I'm not going to say the easiest, but more creative way for remembering names and surnames and more difficult spellings that you need to remember for a long time. Because again, once you meet somebody, there are somebody that you only need to remember their name for next half an hour, because this is the only meeting that you have with them. So your priorities are different. And there is somebody that you need to know their name and their surname for a long time, and it's good to know them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so here is the simple process. Of course, there are some more difficult ones, such as using your memory palace and using your space around you. And I'm going to show you that in our next session tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. Memory palace sounds good.
Yeah. So for now, just to recap, the first thing of what all of you guys listening, watching us today, that we'll commit to do if you want to remember our names. So first of all, by making that commitment that before you approach the situation, you will remember that, and you'll think of a good reasons of why you need to pay conscious attention to remember that. Then secondly, you will pay that attention, and by integrating as many little things that you can by repeating the name, having that auditory repetition, by having that visual cue for yourself to remember the name, and anything else that you can integrate with the things that you already know. So that's either the person that you already know, or any character, or anything that it can remind you of. And then the final step would be, once you step away of that, you can create that mnemonic little story that will help you to keep that name for a long time. Yeah, how does that sound, Robin?
Oh, that sounds good. And I am out this evening, and I'm hoping there's going to be some people there that I don't know. I'm going to put it to the test. And
yeah, so again, if you remember the system and you start using it all the time, it might feel a bit odd because, again, first few times you are consciously doing it until it becomes your unconscious competence, when you can just do it automatically. So once you practice that, you will realize how simple and easy it is to remember people's names. But now, I want to have a competition.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's a challenge. It's a challenge week, yeah? So I will give you some challenge to make sure that you can practice your storytelling skills, yeah? I want to make competition for everybody. I'll post a post on Facebook, and you will have to make mnemonic story for my surname.
Oh, crikey. Wait, maybe if you share what your surname is.
Yeah, so I'll post it with the name and surname. So my surname is Zimanavichute. So good luck with that. I will write it down, and to practice your best skills of your story making, you'll make all of that into a nice, coherent, creative, interesting, exciting story. Now, each of you will like each other's names and stories. Please post, share, and the person who will collect the most likes for the mnemonic story gonna get free session with me.
Oh, cool.
Free coaching session, okay? So I think it's a good incentive for us to think that we need to work on skills. Skills are not just there given, but if we have a good incentive of why we should remember names, why we should practice those skills of how we're doing it, then we become much better with the time. So just to give that bit of incentive.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to seeing.
And a bit of a challenge. Let's see what you guys come up with.
See what they come up with. That's going to be fun. But already I can feel almost like a shift in there from just going. It's what we talked about on the podcast. One going, I have a terrible memory, to changing that to I'm going to remember your name, and I've got valid reasons why I should remember your name.
Again, and it's more of a shift in mindset of having that attitude, thinking, yes, I can do this, and there's a good reason for me to do it.
Good stuff. Oh, brilliant!
Okay, wonderful.
I feel armed with my super name remembering powers now. I'm going to go out and put them to the test.
Okay, wonderful. So, guys, we'll have a week to post, share, and collect as many likes for your little mnemonic, well, not that little, mnemonic stories for my full name. And then at the end of the week, we'll all see who the winner is. Good luck.
Brilliant. And full details will be below the video on how to do that. And well, I guess Evelina's decision is final. So.
Good luck, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. And tomorrow, just to remind you, is how to stop losing things and remember little important bits of your information from your own past. So we'll see you there.
I have no idea where my keys are right now. See you tomorrow.
Bye there.